Welcome back, students. What you are seeing here is the creation of myself as an example of an assignment sort of similar to the one that you'll be doing. So consider, if you will, that the assignment, instead of yours, which is to design an improved middle school, my assignment that I did was to design an improved hamburger restaurant. So I named it Burger and Bun. As you can see here, I think it's a pretty hip name. I think people would go to this restaurant. If teaching doesn't work out, that's my plan B. But what I have here is sort of an example of what yours could look like. So this is a flyer. I used the flyer template in the Pages app to make it. And it's an example of something that you could do. A brochure would look similar to this, except slightly like in a different format with the trifold. But this is a way that I did this so that you could see sort of what it would look like to use the evidence and some pretty basic explanation here. So for as far as like the analysis and evidence goes on this, this would be sort of a proficient level, just barely there, maybe more of a 2. You'll also notice that I only have like 2 pieces of evidence and I don't go into it that deeply. But this is just something to show you a way that this could go. So I'll read through it with you and explain some things that I think are important and annotate as I go. So it begins here. Burger and Bun is a revolutionary new entry into the rapidly growing cheeseburger industry. According to Fortune magazine, U.S. restaurants and cafeterias serve 9 billion hamburgers, a jump of 3%. However, despite the popularity of the humble burger, it can be difficult to find a truly remarkable dining experience. Although there seems that there are opportunities for a burger at every corner, this popularity has made most burger joints lazy. They've forgotten the basics: burger and bun. That's where we come in. So as you can see, I've got a couple of little typos and things in there too. That quote is incomplete, so craftsmanship is not looking great on this, but hey, I had a little bit of time to put it together for you, and I wanted you to have this as a resource. So I want to draw your attention to what I've highlighted here. This is what is appropriately called the quote sandwich, not just because it's about hamburgers, but because it is a sandwich of a quote. What I mean by that is that it's got sort of different parts to it. So the top bun for the quote sandwich is going to be this part where it says, according to Forbes magazine. The top bun of the quote sandwich, you use something like according to, and you introduce the source that it came from. So for your project, you may have something like, according to the article, Time to Ban Middle School, or according to the author, so-and-so. Those are all different ways that you can set up the quote that's about to come. The filling of this sandwich is going to be the quote itself. Here, the quote is that U.S. restaurants and cafeterias serve 9 billion hamburgers, a jump of 3%. So again, you've got the top bun. That's going to be here the according to. You've got the filling, which is the quote. And then the bottom bun is going to be this here, the analysis, the explanation. And I go on to explain that, however, despite this popularity, it's difficult to find a truly remarkable dining experience. That the popularity of burger joints here has made other places lazy. They've forgotten the basics. So I go in a little bit to explain why this quote about how popular burgers are actually supports my idea that my place is better. So that's just a way that you can bring it in. I think most of you will find a lot of success with this. We will be going through the quote sandwich in class later on too, so that's something that you can look forward to, or you can do a little bit of research on your own. Moving on, you've got this beautiful illustration that I made. If I would have spent less time drawing this hamburger, I would have had more time to make this project, so don't fall into that trap that I did. That's a cautionary tale. So it moves on to this part. Here it goes on to say, Oxford University food scientist Charles Michel claimed in August of 2015 to have the formula for the perfect burger. Michel's recipes included 30% smell, 25% its overall feel, and tied for third place at 15% each were its sound, appearance, and of course, taste. But check your lab coat at the door, because at Burger and Bun our formula is 100% taste, 100% smell, and 200% good times. Check your math code at the door too. Still, there's value in Charles's research. While some of his ingredient suggestions may make one order a salad, Burger and Bun has taken the best to design the perfect burger. Warm, toasted sesame bun. According to Michel, the bread directly hits nostrils first, stimulating the sense of smell and bringing to mind pleasant thoughts of comforting grain. Savory caramelized onions. Professor Les Copeland of the University of Sydney describes the Maillard reaction as the process caused by cooking that, quote, produces hundreds of chemical compounds that give color and aroma to some of our favorite foods. Burger and Bun has harnessed these tremendous powers to develop a fried onion experience sure to tantalize all taste buds. So again, lots of information there. I did pack like 2 different sources into this. So we've got this idea about the bread from Charles Michel, the scientist from Oxford, and then also another professor at the University of Sydney talking about this chemical reaction that gives color and aroma to favorite foods. So you may want to do some sort of a bullet point list like this if you're going to get a lot of information in. It can be a good way to organize it. So just another example of ways that you can work that evidence in with just a little bit of explanation and analysis here. So again, this is like a 2 borderline 3. This idea that well, I have a warm sesame seed bun. Why? Well, because according to this guy, the bread is going to hit your nostril first and it's going to stimulate your sense of smell. Not great analysis, not great evidence, but it works for this. And then the second one, what is my idea? Oh, to have caramelized onions. Why is that a good idea? Well, because this guy describes this process that gives color and aroma to our favorite food, so of course that would be a good thing. So it's this whole process of idea, why, idea, quote, explain why, which is the same process you'll go through, but again, instead of hamburgers, you'll be talking about middle schools. Finally, this is incomplete, but I did want to show it to you. It's an example of if you wanted to make a map or a diagram of your building, you could go through and do little labels like I did here. So I've got this open burger kitchen. What I wanted to do was talk about how having an open kitchen in the middle of a restaurant, find some source that talks about how that makes people enjoy their food better. It makes people able to sort of see where their food comes from, and that's a good idea. Have this idea of communal tables where people can share and talk to each other, but also this idea of private eating stalls where there's burger lovers looking for me time. For that, I could find an article online talking about how important it is to be able to set aside some time for yourself. So there's a lot that you can do with that, and there's a lot of sources that that you could draw upon to do some sort of a diagram for your building. So again, this is not a proficient project. It's not got all the elements that you need, but it's something to get you started on what this could look like. Other than my typos and things like that, the design of this overall is pretty good. You can read everything. It's got good colors and things like that. It's clear, so the craftsmanship as far as like that design and appearance is pretty good, but I'm going to lose marks here for the typos and the fact that I didn't really have great attention to detail. So hope that this helps at least a little bit to see an example of what this could look like. Again, your big takeaways in here that we'll be drawing on a little bit later is this idea of the quote sandwich. That's going to be super important because for almost all of you, I'm thinking that that's going to be the way that you're going to bring your quotes in, that process of according to so-and-so, here's the quote, and then you'll explain how that quote proves that your middle school idea is a good one. So thanks for watching. If you are done with this and all done with the rubric, you can move on to the brainstorming assignment to start getting some of those middle school ideas out of your brain and onto the page. Thanks again. Bye.